Welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening for our CCS Majors Insight featuring fashion accessories design with our department chair, Aki Chocolate. My name is Amy Armand. I'm the Director of Recruitment at the College for Creative Studies. If you think of questions along the way, as Aki is doing his presentation, just pop them in the chat, or because we have a small group, if you'd like to wait till the end, we can certainly call on you and you can ask them in person, either way, whatever's most comfortable for you. So with that, I yield the floor to you, Aki.
Well, that was a very, very nice introduction. Thank you so much. So I will go ahead and share my screen. I have a small presentation with some content to share with you. So hopefully everybody's okay and sees this. And so this is our department. And we have a very luxurious 6,600 square foot department that gives the students ample space to work on their projects. This is the kind of a senior space you're looking at right now, but this is the other end of our space. So we have a machine space, we have cutting areas. We are the most equipped fashion accessories design department, I'm pretty sure, in the world. I know somebody might say, like, how do you know that? But I've taught and visited all these schools in the world. I have to say that we have a huge investment on technology and on machinery. So the students learn very much the basics. You do not know know how to sew when you come to the department. We will teach everything. We will teach you how to wind the machines, do the bobbins, and just give you kind of a creative freedom to work with the machines. Once you've been trained and taught how to use the machinery, you can come and use them anytime you want. Only the students and who minor in my department and have taken the FAD 101 class can have access to these machines. So that's a real nice kind of a privilege to have. So we have a lot of table space. It's just a really great family of fashion people that we have in our department. We do a lot of one-on-one tutoring. We also do group presentations. We teach theory, but I'm going to go through the whole curriculum shortly. This is we have kind of two storage areas. One of the storage areas or supply rooms are on the floor, and these are shoe lasts. So you basically make a shoe, you build a shoe around this object. In fact, I'm making a shoe right now. Hold on. So this is a shoe last, and I'm making a slipper because I don't have enough slippers. So you learn how to do all this stuff. These are very hard to find, very hard to get, and we have an incredible library of shoe lasts, from super high heel to flats to sneakers to everything. We also have a great supply of components, heels, and our machinery is super state-of-the-art. We call this machine jokingly a $60,000 hole puncher because it punches holes and it costs $60,000. But it does more than that. It actually cuts patterns from various materials. You design your work in Illustrator. You will export it to this machine and it projects the patterns, if you look on the left-hand side, to the material. And you can move the patterns around, and then you push a button and it cuts for you. It's kind of like a laser cutter, but it doesn't burn, because laser burns. This has a surgical microscopic knife that cuts the material. So there, if you see, we cut, these were high-top sneaker patterns. And then what happens is very, very precise. So we have a lot of designs stored in our machines that students have done. So it's just a really great tool, kind of a combining digital technologies and the future of craft. I will talk more about 3D design, but we have, it all connects. We can connect these upper designs into the computer, to the cutters, and in the end, you can do a really high quality product. However, you do need to learn how to still use your hands, you know. So it's not only about computers. So as you can see with a bit of machine heads, we have super expensive machines that all the luxury companies have in, you know, France and Italy and Brazil. And it's a little, some machines are a little bit noisy, but in a good way. So this is a little bit, using Landis is a bit of a baptism by fire. So here, Alori is sewing her soul on into the shoe. It's a super beautiful machine. We need to maintain it really, really with care, and we absolutely love all these things. And the goal for me was to become the most important fashion accessories program in the world, and I think that we are very close to that. The program is based on three pillars: craft, vision, and business. And I really like this quote from Richard Sennett's book, The Craftsman. It's a basic human impulse to do a job well for its own sake, and good craftsmanship involves developing skills and focusing on the work rather than ourselves. I'm the first one to admit that I like talking about myself, and I'm on social media all the time, but it really is, especially in these past few months, doing these few things with my hands at home, in my terrace, it just really puts you into this relaxing zone. So I really like this quote. So I have some samples from students' research and mood boards. Our floor, all the walls are covered with information. And I just didn't want it to be like really clinical. I want it to be really free. I want students to put whatever they're looking at on the screens. And so that's like one of my favorite things is when I go to the floor to see all this work being shared. So curriculum, the first semester, you learn all the basics. So the first thing you'll make is coin purse. And it's actually, these ones are made by machine, but we changed it. We're gonna make the first coin purses by hand, just to understand the hand stitching techniques as well. Then you also make a tote. This is all the first semester. And then you will make a sneaker for your own feet. And this is all students' work that you're looking at. So the first semester, you have a very clear idea what you can make from 2D to 3D, from bags to shoes. The second semester, it gets a little bit more difficult or a little bit more higher level. Hey, Amy, are you okay?
Yep.
Controlling the entries? Okay, great.
Yep.
So the second semester, you will learn a different kind of a construction. You know how to make a sneaker already. So on the second semester, you'll make a high heel shoe. And these are second semester students' work. We will have a presentation in the end of either during midterms or in the end of the semester, and review. And I think they look really amazing, I have to say. I mean, this is like, these shoes could be in Neiman Marcus. I mean, and these are freshman student work. So I'm super proud. And all we can do is just push it further and further and further. The second project we have on the second semester is research, and you will design, you will create a sketchbook, you will design a collection, and out of that collection you take one item and we will help you realize it or you will basically make it. It can be anything as long as it's within your skill level. So we have students that have made handbags, eyeglasses, hats, gloves, kind of like a body pieces. And here's a student made this, fantastic round bag. Student, funny that somebody had a visor. Now this is, 2 years ago. This kind of a fun glasses. All sorts of other things. It's just important to be creative. This student, Bradley, his father is an electrician, so he was really inspired by this kind of like electrician hats. And it's beautiful. So second year, you will really focus on more in your handwriting, your DNA, your identity, and you design a full collection. You need to research the collection, you need to draw it, design it. You also will do a lookbook. You will produce 5 items out of your designs, 2 major ones and 3 smaller ones. And so then you have a really nice story for your lookbook for, kind of editorial style. We will either give you a brand or you can do it for your own brand. And these examples here, the students wanted to do for a commercial brand. The reason we do this is that when we go the 3rd and 4th year and we have sponsored projects with real brands, you already have experience of how to do the full thing. This is kind of like a practice run a little bit. So Maison Margiela was Fernando's brand. And, you start with the same thing, mood board, you start designing, you start collecting the, color and material ideas. And then in the end, you make the protos. And he made these great gloves and a bag and a pair of shoes and a couple other things. And then I give the students the permission. Initially we used to organize the photo shoot ourselves, get a photographer and get the models, but it was much better work when the control was given to the students, like do your own casting, get the person you like to work with to do the photography. It doesn't have to be like a famous photographer, but somebody who knows how to use a camera. So kind of like create your own fashion culture already around you, because you will be needing this for the following several years. Students are working always with their kind of crew, creating these editorials. This is another student, Chloe was the brand, and she designed a beautiful collection. And I don't have her lookbook here, but she went to the Foundation Hotel downtown and did a beautiful photo shoot with actually a student from the photography department. We worked quite a bit with them. Here's just some other samples from that class. We also are one of the few fashion schools that actually still has a full fashion illustration class. I'm not talking about product design or Viscom, I'm talking about fashion illustrator, being a fashion illustrator in a design sense, really getting your kind of personality out. And I think it's so important in our world. We do classic methods of actual, paints, and we also mix it with digital environments. So just want this, lack of a better word, just have like really cool looking product in the end. This particular teacher wanted to do little zines based on their drawings and their looks. We also have a small leather goods making class. The smaller the product, the harder it is to make, but the quality is just always so amazing. The students sold so many of these already. Then we have a 3D digital crafts, and that's super important because the world, as we know, is getting more digital. So we have all our shoe lasts that I talked to you about earlier. We have all them scanned. We have a 3D digital scanner that can scan objects. and you can import them into various software systems, and you can actually design on top of it, or you can import your design idea and then it will be correctly measured on these object. You push a button and a pattern comes out. I mean, to make a long story short, it's not so easy, but it is. That's just what this picture is. We have students that have explored 3D printing. We have incredible 3D printing studios in our building. So we can print, and they're very economic, very, very good prices as well. I just 3D printed a heel for my own research, and I think it was like $15, which is ridiculously cheap because normally it's much more. Then we have anthropology class. I think it's really important to students to understand academic observational research as well, because we are designing fashion, we are designing for a consumer. So we have to learn how to observe the outside world and, you know, understand the whole world that goes around that. It's one of my favorite classes, actually. Students, you know, we send students to restaurants or to supermarkets to observe how people behave. Maybe not the best of idea right now, but, you know, it's just in general. I mean, like, who's the consumer who goes to Somerset Collection Mall versus to some kind of a, you know, Target? So we actually had a student who compared it to kind of a consumer. We do have a bit more complicated shoemaking class. Once you've done this class, you know everything there is to know about shoes. So then we're kind of like done with the technical training, and you can, you know, move on. Fashion brand management, super important. So you will research brands, you research consumer, you know, behavior, consumer insight. This is not anthropology per se. This is more about the corporations. How does a fashion corporation work? You know, you need to have the terminology when you go and work for a fashion brand. This is the #1 skill that is being asked from fashion graduates. That you need to know how to do tech packs, which is basically Illustrator flat drawings with correct dimensions, correct measurements, correct references. And what we do at the end of the class, I asked the students to print them large and put them on one of our walls because I think it looks really great. Then we have trend forecasting, very important as well, because if you do work for a brand like Zara or Target, you need to know what the consumers will want in the next 2 to 3 years. So it's a very, very good class. Casting is something that we offer as well, basically making the hardware pieces that goes into handbags and shoes, just to have a basic understanding of how a mold or cast is made. So then you can, you know, easily make your own hardware. And then we have the sponsored projects. I will go through all that a little bit later. And then a final collection and a show. Unfortunately, our show was canceled this year. So we will pick it up again. This was supposed to be the venue. It hurts me to even look at it, but it was the ballroom at the China Hotel. We invited Dapper Dan from New York to be our special guest, and, you know, so there's always next year. So that's the kind of the first part of that, of my presentation. I don't know, Amy, do you want me to continue or take a break and ask questions, or just finish the whole thing all at one go?
I would say, well, does anybody have any questions at this point, or do you want, would you like to just continue? And then as questions bubble up, we can have you post them in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, let's continue. I can actually see anybody, so I'll continue. How about that?
Okay.
All right. So we had various kind of sponsored projects. this was a really interesting one because I was a little bit not sure in the beginning. It was with FCA, which is a Fiat Chrysler company, you know, Detroit-based, an Italy-based company. So the idea was that we work with other departments. We work with transportation design department, interiors department. Transportation designed the car, interiors designed the showroom, and we designed the brand extension. So we designed shoes and handbags and accessories for all the FCA companies. So this one was for, is it Alfa Romeo Ferrari? It was Alfa Romeo, right? Yes. So this is for Alfa Romeo. We designed a pair of shoes, or the student designed a pair of shoes and a handbag. And this is for Fiat, which I thought was very cute. It kind of looked like a Fiat. And they were so excited about the project. Another project that we had was with Eileen. Oh, by the way, this is Swarovski. They also sponsored a student for a project. So we did a project with Eileen Fisher because of the sustainability idea. And they have invented this new kind of material. We went with the students to New York, to Hudson Valley to visit their factory where they made it's kind of a felt. And they gave us materials, they gave us a tour of their corporate offices, and we came back to Detroit and we designed a collection for them. And it was a great success, really, really fun work. We worked with local, you know, our student photographers from the photography department. And this project was also in collaboration with the Masters of Color and Material students. So we had a great trip to New York. When we do these corporate sponsored projects, I always want to go to where they are. So I always insist, I always say, I don't want to do a project unless you're going to fly us to your headquarters. So far they always said yes. So that leads me to Calvin Klein. So we've been working very hard with the parent company to develop a relationship with PVH. PVH is one of the world's largest apparel companies. They own Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, Speedo, just loads of different brands. We already did a mini project with PVH with all those brands, but this was the big one. So this project was for Calvin Klein. We flew to New York. We met with the creative director. He gave us a brief. We showed initial designs actually when we went to New York. He reviewed them and then he came back in February to Detroit to see the final collection. So this is us right before the first brief, and it was pretty great. I mean, they treated us just incredibly well. I mean, they had beautiful breakfast, but it was also great because it was very stressful. The creative director is a creative director, as they always are, very direct, he has a reputation, let's just put it that way. So he met with each student and, you know, gave a very direct feedback. I will talk about internships later, but he liked the work so much that he took 3 students to do internships at Calvin Klein because of this project. So it's really important for you as a future student to involve yourself with as many companies as possible. And this is our final presentation. Now, I really like working with, sorry, I'm gonna jump back into share screen in a moment. I really like working with our other departments. So our communication design department created a book with us and with the students' work for Calvin Klein, a huge desktop book. And these were all the students. So each student had a kind of a spread and the final product and detail shots. Inspiration, photo, details. This one actually won. Jarek won it was also a competition. He won the competition. He was flown to New York to work with the team. They developed the bag. the pieces came to our campus last week, and he's going to give me one, so I'm really happy about that. But it was a really incredible mini internship he got to do actually before the bigger internship. Just gonna flick through this very quickly. The student was, it was interesting, she's vegan and she did not want to use leather. So she had this pineapple leather that we ordered from London. So this is pineapple leather that they used for this bag. Really great. I mean, you can eat the bag. But you know, it's so vegan. So, okay, I'm going to jump back into the presentation. All right, so that was Calvin Klein, and they kind of told us that they will continue the relationship with us for a long run, which is also really, really good. Study abroad. This is so important, especially for fashion, to leave the country, go to another culture to see how things are made. We made a trip to London and to Italy, and I have a little video clip of our trip. So sorry, you're going to be listening to me again, but in a different kind of a format. So let's have a look.
I like the very reactive and warm personal hand of leather. And as they are these objects that follow us, become part of us, they take on our imprint, and so I think they become like holders of experience.
The reason I think it's important for students to have a study abroad experience is because the minute you land in another country, you are transformed and you learn something. Everything is different. In order to excel in your career, you need to go where people do these things the best, and this is where it is. Well, Tuscany and Florence is really basically the ground zero for our industry. It's a really incredible place because you can have all the manufacturers of components, the leather tanneries, all within arm's reach. So the Florence part of our trip to Europe was just really to introduce students to, number one, the culture of Italy. Just mere fact of landing here and walking the streets and looking at people is so important. So one of the stops that we did in Florence was Scuola del Cuoio, which is one of the oldest leather manufacturing institutions, and they demonstrated how they use gold leafing, making decorations for small leather goods. It was kind of the first lesson on different types of leathers.
But first of all, it's the idea, if you're going to work with leather, you have to really understand where leather comes from. So the first thing we do is go to the tannery, because there's nothing like a full immersion in the reality of what that place is like. The basic role of tanning is to take a material that would otherwise rot and turn it into something that would be durable. This was like the first upscaling that man discovered. They discovered that by using things from nature, leaves, branches, anything that have natural tannins in them will preserve the leather. Then they come here to this incredible convent from the 1400s to work with an artisan from the island of Elba. He's someone who loves tools, has a collection of over 600 tools that he brings. And so he's an encyclopedia of anything that you can handcraft with leather.
Well, the workshop here at the San Miniato, we are living here, we are eating here, we are working here and we are learning here. So it's a really stunning, once in a lifetime experience for a lot of the students. The ultimate product for the workshop is to make a shoe and demonstrate various kind of hand-stitched techniques on the shoe and decorations. And we have various kind of tools and techniques that we can use to make a beautiful product.
This is the part of education that I find most interesting, is to be able to tune people into these kinds of slower, deeper levels of being human and having an activity and having your work turn into something that can mean something over time.
Well, the takeaway from the Italy trip really is to understand the level of craftsmanship and hands-on work that goes into finishing a product.
Now, as I said, I am here for the aesthetics. When I look out over this, and this is so beautiful, it truly speaks to my heart.
Italy, for me, in particular Tuscany, I cannot even put it in necessarily into words, but this is what Italy is known for. This is the beauty of it.
So that was our Italy trip, and when they released the video a few months later, I gathered all the students into the studio and we were looking at it, and oh my God, we were crying. We had such a moving experience with all of this. And it still speaks, this is 2 years ago. As we all know, with this current situation, the seniors had to finish their work at home. And the number one thing they said that they remembered the hand-making techniques from this course that really helped them to, really think in a new way to create their final collections. So we're training students to become designers, makers, and entrepreneurs. Our students have so far ended up, again, we're a new program, newish, we're on our 5th year. So far students have ended up in Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, Genesee, Tory Burch, and Fossil, and several other smaller brands, but these are sort of the main. Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein are our main partners. They also sit in in our board, a fashion accessories design board, and help us navigate the North American education. So it's really important for me for the students to have a job. I mean, you invest 4 years of your time and your money. So I really want to train you and make sure that you go out there and kind of be the spokesperson for our craft and become, the designer that you deserve to be. Just some new developments. Recently, Alexander McQueen London contacted us, which I was kind of floored and blown away. I mean, like one of the biggest fashion iconic companies in the world. And they invited us to participate in this sort of a social media challenge, but they also want to see what we can do together in the future. So I'm super excited about that. Our students are starting to receive awards, which is amazing. Christian Innovation Award, it's an award that's given away at London Graduate Fashion Week every year. And last year, it was our first time we participated and we won. So by these shoes by Kayla. We have four students being judged, and we're gonna find out in about 3 weeks how we place, but I'm sure we're gonna win something again in Europe. Kayla also invited to go to an Adidas workshop in Portland, Oregon, and of all the sneakerheads, she won, which was like such an incredible thing. They produced the shoes, they marketed them, they sold out. I got 3 pairs for myself, and it was just like so incredible. It's an incredible story. If you go to Adidas website, or our website, there's a full story there. And then we also, part of CCS is a design core agency, or type of they help companies they help develop companies in Detroit, but they're part of CCS, and they won the Gucci Changemaker Award, which is incredible. So Gucci gave us money to put this exhibition together that they all organized, and they invited our graduates to be part of that. So our 5 graduates this May, from this May, are part of this show, and we will have an opening on September 3rd. So you're all welcome. It's going to be in a space in Detroit. And again, if you follow us on social media, I'll put everything there. When we were in Europe, I visited several companies, LVMH, Givenchy, and they were so interested about the fact that we have something that's considered very high luxury fashion that's normally in Paris or Milan or Florence or London, that we're in Detroit. So they all are kind of like have their eyes on us. So I think that's a really exciting opportunity. And so we're actively involved in seminars, in all sorts of events. And Amina, you've seen her a few slides ago. She was nominated in the Graduate Fashion Week as the international talent. So we're in a really beautiful, good place right now. So that's it. I'm done with my monologue.
All right, so you're done, but you're not done yet, because we are going to answer some questions. I know we have had a few folks who arrived a little bit late, but welcome. And we have a couple of questions that Jeffrey posted in the chat. He is asking, have you done any designing for clothes, jackets, or the seats of cars, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure how you would respond.
No, I mean, we do have in the transportation department, there's interiors department, and also actually our interior design department has done car interiors, but we focus on fashion accessories, which will be footwear, handbags, and everything that complements apparel. However, we have students that have done other things. We do not teach tailoring. So if you do want to explore other items, you can, but our specialty is accessories at the moment. I don't know if that.
Okay, another question was, do you know of any internships for high school students? Do you know if any of the fashion companies take high school students under their wing? I've not heard of that.
No, I think there might be some age-related things. Of course, if we were in Europe, I'd be like, oh, sure, go and work in the local fashion brand. But I think I have not. I mean, honestly, I think what's the legal age to work? Is it 16?
16, I think.
Yeah. So I haven't heard, no.
Are there any other questions that people have that they'd like to ask? Eve, did you have? I know that you've been with us since the beginning. Did you have any?
No, my question was actually going to be geared around like jackets and regular clothing apparel, but it sounds like it would be mostly on accessories.
Yeah, I mean that's our specialty in our department is the accessories, because there really isn't accessory. I mean, well, first of all, it's the most money-making part of the fashion houses, and accessories designers usually end up becoming the bosses of the big brands. For example, Gucci, Alessandro Michele is an accessories designer. He was in the accessories department before he became the creative director of the whole brand. Pierpaolo Piccolo from Valentino, same thing. Also the head of Dior. Kiuri, she was an accessories designer. So no, we specialize in accessories at the moment.
Cool.
Right, I had a few questions.
Yes.
You know, regarding shoes and things like that. How about opportunities for like more technical or sports accessories?
Yes.
Yeah, is the program tailored more to fashion, and or is there an avenue for sporting equipment, technical fabric, technical shoes and accessories?
Well, that's the great thing with CCS is that you can have access to all of that. Now, yes, fashion is a very important part of our identity. However, as we know, streetwear, sportswear, it's really blurring. If you look at any kind of a street coverage from fashion weeks, it's, you know, all sorts of technical sneakers, and, you know, Balenciaga, maybe the most desirable fashion brand at the moment. The number one seller is the Triple S sneakers, which, you know, I would not go running in them, but they look like running sneakers. I mean, they're super huge and heavy and everything else. So our product design department focuses on really in that sort of a Nikes and Adidas type of a world. They do not make anything in the product design department, which is the reason they come to our department. So many students, they take electives in our department. They might major in fashion and minor in product, or major in product and minor with us, and then take a class in, you know, fibers. So there's all sorts of, I mean, that's the good thing. Amy, I don't know if I'm saying the right thing, but we can really design this kind of like menu of education for you.
Yeah, no, that's good. I understand.
Yeah, I love sportswear. I'm not, I mean, we do have a project with Adidas coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you heard that Kanye West showed up
Oh, okay.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, we did hear
Yeah.
that.
twice.
Yeah.
Locked me in a meeting room for 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. So, you know, and I don't know if you heard of him opening a factory in Wyoming. So there's this, you know, we're trying to figure out how to, you know, I know the Brooklyn Adidas farm people, I know the Yeezy people in, you know, California. I'm just trying to, and that is, I mean, Yeezy is fashion, it's not performance. So yeah, it's all very exciting and blurry.
Got one more. Also, you know, I also had another question. You were showing some images, and how, you know, in terms of visual communication, like some of the shoe sketches, things like that. So it sounds like the students will have the opportunity to maybe take some industrial design classes regarding sketching products or shoes, or does that happen? Is there kind of an opportunity to take some BizCom classes?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have, you know, students use Procreate, they use various kind of sketch tools as well. I have the teacher that we have for the actual accessory as a product. I mean, he teaches both product design and for us. So, but the fashion illustration class, I still wanted the students to have that kind of a designer identity.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's completely up to the student.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
I have actually, I can quickly show you a student that came to mind that is kind of hang on a second. Oh, here it is. Okay, sorry. He is No, sorry, I can't find the document. But I mean, he's doing a little bit of that sort of very product design looking style of drawing with like swishy lines, sort of a little bit of a sneakerhead type of a drawings, but he's bringing it into the kind of like a fashion aesthetic. So I really encourage the students to sort of like merge everything. I went to Royal College of Art in London, and we were encouraged to just work with the architecture department, with the industrial design, we also have transportation. So we were always like, we went to the same party, so we were always like merging these kind of things.
I think that Jeffrey had one more question in the Zoom chat.
Yeah.
Asking if people profit, like money-wise, from the projects that succeed and get sold. So I think, if you want to address the scope of the
Sponsor project or as a career in fashion?
I think as a career in fashion,
Well,
how
I can actually speak for two. I mean, with sponsor projects, I always also include that the students get paid something, for their work. We have work study program where the students work in the department, they get paid. As a career, I hate to guarantee a job, but I can pretty much guarantee if you are trained to work in our industry in the US, people will fight for you. I mean, there's the accessories industry is like $80 billion industry in North America alone. And there's very few schools where you can study it. And this is why all these companies are approaching us now, not just nationally, but internationally, because they're desperate for trained accessories designers. So yes, you can have a job and you can be very successful. I am. But I teach because I love teaching. I mean, I think it would be really boring for me to sit in my design studio and design stuff all the time. So I really enjoy being in academics.
All right. Any other questions that have come to mind from anyone else that's here on the chat? We've got a few more minutes left.
Sure. I can quickly show our seniors' final collection lookbook. We had 5 graduates, as mentioned earlier, just to see kind of what they've done. They all incorporated their own cultures into their collections. This is an important, thing to show because a lot of these products were finished at home after we had to go home for the latter part of the semester, and getting a lot of international attention. It's pretty amazing. I mean, she made these in her, front room. And then we have Evan. It's a bit more upcycling, street style. He's a, skater boy. Heron, he's been nominated for a lot. And actually his research, this is several months ago, was very timely. So it was about racial, justice and.
Aki, I'm not sure your screen is forwarding.
Oh, really? Okay. Amy, can you see that?
Now I don't see your screen shared at all.
Okay. How about now?
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Great. Okay. So.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about, this is kind of triggered me about the product design, type of a thing. So he did a great job and he's been nominated a lot, and he did his own photo shoot with his roommate in the back, and it was kind of fun. Yeah. And then we had Mariana. She went to Miami and she finished her collection in Miami. And I actually bought these shoes from her. We sent a sewing machine to their house, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, a lot of hard work, and this is going to be shown at the Gucci sponsored event in September.
Beautiful.
All right.
Great. Well, that was fantastic. I always learn something from from listening to you. And it always makes me want to go back and you know, do my career all over again. So hopefully everyone else who joined us is you know, got a lot of information, answered questions for you. If you have any other questions, you're more than welcome to contact myself, A. Armand at collegeforcreativestudies.edu. You can reach out either to me and I can forward on to Aki, or you're welcome to contact him. You know, please let us know if you have any other questions, and we'll have future events that you can participate in. And Eve, I know you're actually coming to CCS, so we'll be hopefully seeing you on campus very soon. Yeah.
I'll be there. And follow us on social media. We're very, very active in Instagram. Feel free to follow me in my personal Instagram. I'm like, if you want to see shoes and bread, because that's all I do, is make shoes and bake sourdough bread. But follow our department Instagram account, CCS_FAD. We're posting constantly material and fun things in there. And so it's a good place to be on top of what we do in our department.
Great.
Great. Well, thanks.
Yeah, thank
Well,
you.
thank you. All right.
All right. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.